Welcome, everyone, to the Fandom Podcast Network special presentation of the Hair Metal Podcast. Hair Metal Podcast looks back at thrash, rock, glam, pop metal bands, music, events, and everything else that heavily influenced the 80s and early 90s hair metal era of music. We are proud to discuss the nostalgia of 80s hair metal. This is Hair Metal Podcast, episode 26. VH1's top 40 hair bands from 2001. Do you remember that? Check this out. I've got my original VHS cassette tape that I recorded on VH1 with the original commercials, by the way. And we're also going to be discussing our top 10 with a special Sleaze Meter. I'll get into that more in just a moment. But first, my name is Kevin, and I'd like to introduce my co-host for the Hair Metal Podcast. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Mike Simmer. What's going on, brother?
Evan, thanks for asking me. I'm the one who wants to be with you, and deep inside, I hope you feel it too.
Hold on, where's my lighter? Oh, crap, I need to turn my phone light on. What's up, buddy? Good to have you. Excited?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's always a blast.
You bet, man. Like I said, this is the Hair Metal Podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. We're talking 80s metal. And I think we've got some co-hosts here. Are you sure you got the right people for this? Yes, we do, Mike, right? We've got the rest of the Hair Metal Council, right?
Yes, the Hair Metal Council, the brainiacs of hair metal.
Okay, so I'm going to basically, I'm going to be the Sam Kinison, and I'm going to introduce you. You're the next band, so I want you to get the rest of these guys in here.
Okay, so let's start with
I like how you're deciding who you like better now.
Yeah.
I like
who I brought in first last time. So let's bring in Dick Damien this time, the head of the Vito Bratta fan club.
What's up, Dick?
How you guys doing?
Doing good. Yes. I love that. The Vito. I'm with you there, buddy. I'm with you right there in that club. Yeah.
I have a shirt that says Vito Bratta has gone missing, and if you see him, call this number. No, I can't wear that for this.
Is it your phone number? Is it your phone number?
No, it should be
your phone number.
I'd love to meet him.
All right, Mike, who do we got next of the Hair Metal Council?
So we're also going to bring in the other brainiac of the Hair Metal Council is Nez.
Nez, this guy. What's up, Nez?
Hey guys, you guys have me laughing while I'm in the waiting room. Love it, especially Mike's deep inside lyric type stuff. I love it. It's good to see you, Kevin, Mike, and of course Dick. Great to see you guys. Absolutely.
So I gave you guys some homework. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is my original VH1 Top 40 Hair Bands 2001 original recording with all of the original commercials on it. Now, you guys, I gave you homework to watch this. Did you watch it on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So just to let the listeners know and the viewers, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over this list and kind of giving our thoughts on it. And as we're doing it, we're going to say whether or not they still deserve to be on the list or, what happens and so on. Because what we're going to do is after we do the top 40 VH1 hair metal list, what we're going to do is do our own top 10. And we're going to try to narrow it down from a lot of these bands that we're going to talk about with VH1 highlighted, as well as maybe some other ones they did not. So, and this is, of course, the Fandom Podcast Network. And we've done a lot of fun hair metal podcasts over the last year or so. And Mike, you've been awesome to be on. And you guys have had a lot of fun, especially with our number 22, our hair metal supergroup draft. And also we had the best cover songs by hair metal era bands. Those were a lot of fun. So we're going to celebrate actually hair metal here, guys. Now, before we get into some of the bands that we saw and such, I remember the last podcast when we had you guys on, I wanted to kind of define the hair metal terminology because in the 90s, it was the term hair metal was a bad word, basically. It was kind of used to kind of make fun of it. People were still grungy and, wanting to talk about their feelings and look down at their shoes and wear flannel. Well, we wanted to celebrate, of course, back in the day where you can have fun and party, just escape all your problems. But the term hair metal, guys, has a certain reason why it's called hair metal, because of a certain type of look and style. So Nez, I get your thoughts on that real quick. When people say hair metal, obviously people are thinking one thing, right?
Yeah, they're thinking a bunch of pretty boys bouncing around, shaking their asses, not necessarily having talent, not in it for the reason of loving music, but more just, again, like you said, the party lifestyle, the chicks, the booze, the partying. But I do believe that now it is embraced as what you said. It reflects a very cool time in our lifetime. But I think people look back with a little bit of envy. I want to think that some of those jock rockers who like had their like little buzzes on the side, that I want to think that they wish they had hair when they were in high school. Especially everybody who's balding, you know, saying, man, I wish I had a mane like David Coverdale, you know, like something like that. And I'm just saying.
Dick, I want to get your thoughts on the term hair metal. You know, and we've embraced it, and I know there's still some people out there that don't like the term, but I feel like everyone refers to it as hair metal. I mean, even on Dancing with the Stars the other night, they had hair metal night.
I wanted to throw up in my mouth.
My take on it is that it's a hair, but it's also the clothing style. Like, you know, spandex and basketball shoes. You know, tons of hair and tons of like other accoutrement, like
fringe, you know, ripped.
Whatever, like a commander in the army wears, like throw that on top too. But there's also a quality of musicianship with that's associated with it that you like. Like, I mean, I play guitar. I played for 30 years. And I can't shred worth, you know, like I can try, but like those guys, they had an amazing talent to put across that type of playing that is, you know, visually associated with that look.
Kind of underrated at some points as well. Yeah, that's a good point. Mike, I want to get your thoughts. Hair metal, looking back on it and what we're about to be doing.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with the terminology. I really never did. It was a designation that was put on bands that, you know, fairly or unfairly, I think it was warranted because, you know, there was that look of a lot of hair. There was a lot of hair. The only problem I have and have always had is the bands who get lumped in to hair metal who never were. And that's the only problem I ever had. But I celebrate hair metal. And Nez and I have celebrated almost every single day. I mean,
every day.
You know,
Can I add one more thing?
Please.
Sorry, it's Dick just reminded me of it. Is also as a musician and going into music shops and stuff, when cats would put up flyers looking for band members, they would not just list their influences, but oftentimes it would say must have hair.
Yes.
And always knew what it meant. It didn't mean just you're not bald. It meant you had
a lot of hair.
You know, that was just awesome.
Walking down Melrose in 1988, I saw like 3 or 4 different hair extension places. I mean, it was funny. It was really funny. I did want to mention that we've seen some things, and I went and saw the Cult a few weeks ago, guys. I hadn't seen them in about 10 years. I missed them once when they came around, and I saw them at the Vina Robles Amphitheater in Paso Robles, California. And let me tell you guys, they have not lost it. Ian, maybe he'll put on a little bit more weight, but boy, dude, his voice was on. Billy and his guitar was on. The rhythm section was on. The Cult was fantastic, guys. And I had really good seats. I had like 6-row center. And there was this guy who was wearing this kilt that was like in the front row. And I talked with him we had some really cool people around me. And he was just so excited to be there. And he had this little vial with him. And we were kind of wondering what that was. And I don't know if he got a message to the Cult or Ian or whatever, but he, during the time between the encore, like they didn't leave the stage. Like during the encore, they brought this guy up before the encore, and Ian saying, "Here's a fellow Scotsman. This guy's wearing a kilt." And I noticed he was wearing a kilt, and I was kind of joking with the people next to me, like, I wonder if he's regimental. That means when you don't wear anything underneath it, you know, like Braveheart style. And this guy was very sweet. He says, "Thank you for having me here." His father had just passed away, and his father introduced him and took him to his and he had a little of what was left over of his dad's ashes, and he threw the ashes. He threw the ashes all over the stage in a tribute to his father, and then he turned around and mooned the audience. Saw full on ass and balls. It was great.
Wow.
Nice.
That's great.
But anyway, great show. You guys seen anyone recently?
Yeah, I was at the Jesus and Mary chain, not exactly Hair, and the Hives on the same night, different venues, and saw the old punk band X celebrating, I guess, like 40, 50 years or something like that, whatever that is. Be going to see Wasp soon.
Hold on. For you younger listeners, Nez here went to 2 concerts at 2 venues on the same freaking night.
Yeah,
That's
I've
baller,
never
dude.
done that. That is tough.
And you're seeing
Crazy,
Wasp soon.
crazy.
But I missed him. I missed him recently because Blackie had to get some back surgery, so I couldn't see the show.
Yeah.
Dick, you saw
Wasp
someone recently. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nez.
Oh, Overkill. Overkill are playing in a couple of weeks, right up the street. So I'm super grateful.
Nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Dick, who have you seen?
4th of July, saw Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and Robert Plant.
Probably the last time you might see all those guys together. That's amazing.
They're all like 10, like Robert Plant's 73, Dylan's 84, and Willie Nelson's 93.
I'm gonna guess there was a big bag of weed on that tour bus too.
They had a whole Willie's place is in something like they built a little special merch area just for his stuff.
Nice, very nice.
And then I saw the Doobie Brothers and Steve Winwood.
Very cool. How's Steve sounding nowadays?
He sounds fine. He's not moving around as much. But the Doobie Brothers were like, they were, for what the Doobie Brothers, they're the same age and they were rocking.
Nice, nice.
And I was with Nez when we saw X. I saw Keen last week, and I'm going to see Iron Maiden and Wasp and probably Blood Incantation.
See, that's what I like about you guys.
That's right. Blood Incantation.
Right.
When is that show? We all have to go to that one.
Yeah. Forgot about those. Right. Yeah.
That's what I like about having you guys on. You actually get out there and see these live concerts.
Oh yeah.
It's great to see that. Mike, who have you seen recently?
I saw ELO a couple weeks ago, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm really dying for that Blood Incantation show.
Yeah, it's gonna be
just
great.
for the merch. Just for the merch. Same thing we saw last time. We went right for that merch table.
You gotta give those guys like they need it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We are talking about VH1's top 40 hair bands, and we're going to induct our own top 10 with the Sleaze Meter. But I did want to mention that there was a brand new documentary on Paramount Plus called Nothing But a Good Time. It was a 3-part documentary all about the uncensored story of 80s hair metal. Now, Dick, I know you didn't get a chance to see it because you don't have the channel. We may revisit this later in a future podcast, but I just want to get your first reactions to seeing this, Nez.
You don't have to twist my arm too far to get me to sit down and watch something like this. I watched all 3 episodes straight through. I know some of this stuff is just kind of like common knowledge to us, like recycled stories and stuff. But I think it's good to still see some of these guys today reflecting on, cool time in music. And, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, get out there and see this thing.
And Jack Russell was interviewed before he passed away on this, which I thought was nice.
And Steve Riley too.
That's right. Mike, what was your first impressions of this?
I enjoyed it. Like Nez, I watched it straight through. All 3 episodes. I just kept on going. I really, really liked the final episode where they were talking about that band Tough, who I had never heard of.
I had, yeah.
And how their career was basically cut short because they premiered on MTV and got a bunch of airplay on MTV, and then Nirvana just killed them. So I like that. It was the only thing I found odd about it was there was almost no mention of Bon Jovi whatsoever, which
that's interesting.
I thought was odd.
Yeah, and that's going to come up later. I have something I want to bring up about that. And Bon Jovi has had his own documentary recently, and it's kind of tough to get through, but it was interesting. But yeah, by the way, the guy Tough, I'm forgetting his first name, But he actually released a song about 10 or 15 years ago called American Hair Band. And it's a tribute to all of those hair bands. And it's kind of done with a simple rock style. But look it up on YouTube, look it up, listen to it, because he lists so many bands in that. And it's a really nice tribute to it. And when you see him interviewed in Nothing But a Good Time, it brought me back to that song that they released under the Tough name. But the other reason why I'm bringing this up for the viewers and listeners here is that a lot of the stuff that they touched on in this documentary, we're going to touch on here as we rate and talk about the VH1 top 40 hair bands of all time. That means we're going to dive into the hair metal cliches that gave hair metal era the name hair bands. Before we head out to the Hollywood Sunset Strip, hit up Gazzari's, the Troubadour, the Roxy, the Cat House, the Whiskey A Go-Go, and maybe get some drinks and dinner at the Rainbow Bar and Grill or Rock and Roll Denny's. Let's first get on with the show. All right, so when I brought this to you guys, I'm like, guys, we got to do a podcast about the top 40 hair bands of all time. I know we've all seen this, and you guys have all recently watched it, but I need to ask you a question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready.
I am ready.
Listeners, viewers, if you could have seen them before you started recording, they were like writing notes down, and they were like game planning.
Take this seriously.
So it all starts with the top 40 hair bands of all time. And what's really cool about it is I really remember this because it actually debuted on September 15th, 2001. September 15th is my birthday. I'm like, yes! I was so excited when this came out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little fun with this. We're going to break this up into 10 bands at a time, started from 40 down to 39, I think it is, or 31, I think, because we want to kind of stop and talk about each of these guys and kind of say whether or not they deserve to be on this list. And so we are going to start with Hanoi Rocks at number 40, guys. At Hanoi Rocks, okay? And I remember, and by the way, if you watch a documentary, you get a lot of people like Eddie Trunk and Lon Friend, a lot of these guys are around the scene, as well as some of the actual band members talking about him. Of course, Hanoi Rocks was very, very influential. Next came up at number 39 was Extreme. Obviously, probably, unfortunately, more popular for their ballad. If you see these guys in person, you know that they can really rock it out. Next, we have Jackal. And I saw these guys live back in 2018. Excellent, excellent show. At number 37, we've got Steelheart, one of the highest voices of all time. Good-looking singer as well. Contributed to a certain movie called Rockstar as well. Next, we have Night Ranger at number 36, followed by Faster Pussycat at 35, Autograph at 34, Kicks at 33, Saigon Kick at 32, and we're going to round out this top 10 here with Tesla at 31. Now, I want to get your guys' thoughts on these. We've got Hanoi Rocks, Extreme, Jackal, Steelheart, Night Ranger, Faster Pussycat, Autograph, Kick, Saigon Kick, and Tesla. I want to start with you, Mike. What are your thoughts on this 10 here? Anyone that deserve to stay on this list, don't deserve to be? What do you think?
So now that Tesla's up there, Tesla should not be on that list. I was just talking about this earlier. Oh! And I'll tell you what. No, wait, hold on. I'm not saying that they weren't great. I love Tesla, but that's one of the bands that I thought got lumped in as a hair band who was not a hair band. I think Tesla is an amazing band, but I just think they got lumped in, and they never really had the high hair.
It's because of the love song video and the ballad. That's what lumped them in.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you think of like Modern Day Cowboy and Little Susie, that stuff doesn't sound like hair metal. It just sounds like almost like hard rock. Yeah. And I'm not sure Night Ranger's a hair band either.
No. Yeah.
I don't think they're a hair band either. I'm a huge Night Ranger fan, have always been. I don't think they are a hair band. So that's that was the big thing that I had about this list is there was a lot of bands in here who weren't really hair metal. or weren't really hair bands. And
Yeah,
those
extreme is a good example of that too. It's their ballad that really kind of got them in there, you know.
Yeah, so those two are the two that I would take those out, and I'll leave Hanoi Rocks for Nez.
Nez,
Thank
your
you.
thoughts?
All right. I thought some of these bands should have placed much higher. I mean, lower on the list. Whatever gets you closer to one, however you want to say that. I'm a massive Hanoi Rocks fan, like big time. These guys, boom, there they are.
Yeah, look at that.
Absolutely fantastic band. I think Jackal are just jack-offs. I just do not like them. They rip off AC/DC unabashedly. Get rid of them. Now,
I love Jackal.
I'm sorry. I just I just imagined them smelling like leather and cigarettes, and I don't want that right now.
By the way, their last concert shirt that I bought said "Jack me off," just so you know.
Nice. Yeah, okay. Extreme try to like run from the label, the hair metal thing, but with the picture you're showing, I mean, give me a break. Look at how they're dressed and the hair. Like, stop it, you know. But I do agree with them. Like in the Nothing But a Good Time, they try to talk about that. I've never heard Steelheart in my life, but I think I've seen Night Ranger. Those guys slammed. I saw them like back in the day, but I'm not into them. And I think Faster Pussycat, I love them. I absolutely love Faster Pussycat.
I think Faster Pussycat needs to be higher on the list, you know. So
absolutely,
yeah, especially 100%. When you talk about the sleaze factor that we're going to get into later. Dick, what about you, sir? What are your thoughts on this 10?
Autograph and Night Ranger, I don't see them as part of the mix at all, really.
I'd agree with you. Yeah.
Really
I mean, they had the hair, definitely. You know,
they have the hair. I mean, but it's almost like Euro hair. I don't know. That's
Euro hair.
Oh, I know what he means by Euro hair. Well, I mean, there's a certain curl to the Euro hair.
It's a little. Yeah. It's like it's shoot. Yeah. Jackal, I was never a fan of. I agree with Simmer that like Tesla is almost like Southern rock to me. They just didn't really.
Agree.
They, Kicks, Hanoi Rocks, Kicks, and I know you don't know Steelheart, but Steelheart, I think they should go up on the list. Like I've seen lists where Hanoi Rocks is number 1.
Yeah, and they were so influential for. They were like the band's band. Every one of these hair metal bands always paid tribute to who really kind of started the look of the hair, and that was Hanoi Rocks. You know.
Yeah,
and they talked about that in the documentary.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, good stuff there, guys. Let's get on with the next 10 for here on the Hair Metal Podcast, talking about VH1's top 40 hair bands of all time. And we have Bullet Boys at number 30, one of my favorites. 29, we've got Trickster, the Nice Boys. At 28, we had LA Guns, the Sleazy Boys in Leather. Next, we have, Under God's Command, we had Striper. Boy, did they have the hair. Then we had Mr. Big at number 26. Danger at 25. At 24, we had Firehouse. 23, we had the girls. We had Vixen. 22, we had Wasp. And at 21, we had Europe.
See it.
All right, Dick, I want to start with you first on this here. 30 Bullet Boys, 29 Trickster, 28 Guns, 27 Striper, 26 Mr. Big, Danger, Firehouse, Vixen, Wasp, and Europe.
So on that list, I think LA Guns for me are higher up. They're they're a quintessential band. They're an LA band, parts of Guns N' Roses.
Very sleazy.
Yes. I'm gonna say Vixen can go up there too because they had some hair and they had good chops, man. They had great.
Yeah, they did.
Great musicians. Mr. Big, I'm a very big Mr. Big fan.
Me too.
I think they might be up higher. Danger, Firehouse, and Trickster. They're sort of lower level bands for me, but I mean, Wasp should be in the top 10 in my opinion.
That's a good call. All right, let's go to you, Mike. Your thoughts on this top 10?
Yeah, I mean,
this 10.
How Danger is above Hanoi Rocks. I mean,
Can I make a quick case about this?
Yeah.
Dangers, if you listen to their songs, and they were huge throughout the LA area, all of their songs are about having sex and partying, and they live the lifestyle.
Naughty,
so that's that. Yeah, naughty, bang, bang. Of course, not very, danger, which I thought was funny. But yeah, if you listen, they were notorious, like LA, like hounds, like sleaze hounds. I'll just tell you that right now. But if you're not familiar with their stuff, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think it's going to be a hot take. I'd put Striper way up higher.
Oh,
because no, wait, hold on.
Go.
Wait. Because they don't have the sleaze factor, but like they have the hair metal look to a T. I mean, they had the choreographed guitars going up and down. They had the look, they had the clothes, they had the songs. I always felt they should be up higher because they just were like the epitome of hair metal.
They did, yeah.
The sleaze thing. I get it, under the sleaze thing, but I really think that they should be higher.
Can I retort that for a second, Mike?
Yeah.
That photo right there, to me, it is 80s hair pre-84. You know what? Like, I'm saying, like, there's a level of hair that, like, Poison and like those guys, it was a streakier, like straighter upright hair.
Right.
There's a lot of frizz in there. And
there is. That was kind of where you kind of parted it at the top, and then you kind of poofed everything. Yeah.
There's so much light coming through.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I just think they're laughing stock.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Yeah. Listen, Nez, I will agree with you on that about the laughing stock. But when you think of if you want to show somebody a picture of what hair metal looked like, they would be up there. They would be up there.
I got one that is, I think, the ultimate image of hair metal band that I'll bring up later in the show. But I wanted to make a case for Bullet Boys guys. I saw these guys 3 times. Jealous. If you saw the way they pretty much fuck the audience from afar and each other on stage, I mean, the Mark Torian. And by the way, I'm a straight guy. I'm married, but watching Mark Sweda play a guitar on stage kind of made me feel funny. I'm just going to tell you, this guy knows how to move on stage and play the guitar. All you have to do is watch the Smooth Up video, and that gives you a little taste of everything. And I saw the way these guys interacted with the ladies in the front and them grabbing their crotches and everything. I just got to even shout out one of my favorite hair metal bands of all time. And also Trickster doesn't belong on this list. I'm actually a Trickster fan. I love their music. They're fun, but they're just too nice.
Yeah, their video of them on ATVs and like leaping up at the campsite is just not very hair metal.
Yeah, exactly. All right, are you guys ready for the next 10? This is fun.
Can I talk about the 10?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get your thoughts. Darn it, Nez.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. Yes, please give me your thoughts on the 10.
Of those bands, Wasp are probably my favorite band of the era.
They need to be higher.
Oh my goodness. And when we get into the sleaze talk, they are there. I am an LA Guns fan. I saw them back in the day when they supported AC/DC.
Great shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And saw them on one of their last tours they did. And I know there was another one on this list. Can you scroll through those pictures again real quick, if you don't mind? Okay,
yeah, sure. Here we go. Yeah, we still got
Bullet Boys.
Bullet Boys.
Simmer and I kind of have this thing that we see each other at work.
Yeah.
And Simmer, what do we say to each other when we see each other?
Smooth up and
We just say, no one else gets it.
No one gets it.
I have kind of a hot take. This is my opinion and my opinion only. If there is a song that epitomizes hair metal with the sound, the lyrics, it is Smooth Up In Ya by the Bullet Boys with the video itself. This is my actual favorite hair metal song of the entire era is Smooth Up In Ya by the Bullet Boys.
Nice. So those are mine, again, LA Guns, Wasp, and the Bullet Boys for everything you just said. Those other bands, they didn't really, do it for me, so they would be off my list.
Firehouse seemed they were great musicians, great singer. Rest in peace. The guy just passed away recently. But just seemed too nice. You know, they had that great poodle haircut,
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? So yeah.
they were
Love the
too-
girls, Vixen. Vixen could be higher too for me, I think too. So yeah. Yep. All right. And by the way,
also talked about Europe.
yeah, Europe. Yeah, you're gonna play Final Countdown to open your show and to end your show. I
I think the band name sucks. I don't like that name, Europe. Like when
I'm not even sure. And I mean, they were Swedish, weren't they? Should they be called Scandinavia?
Yes.
And I had an 8th grade girlfriend who was crazy about Joey Tempest, and I allowed myself to become jealous about that.
Oh, he was a good looking guy, dude.
Another podcast, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll bring that up when I talk about Mick Sweden. So there we go.
Okay.
All right, guys. The next 10 here. This is where stuff starts to wrap up here. 20 through 11. We've got the Scorpions at number 20, followed by Brittany Fox at number 19. And we decided to specialize this because there's a difference between the 70s version of this band and the 80s version. And the 80s version is 80s Kiss. There you go. 80s Kiss, followed by one of my favorites, Skid Row at 17, Great White at 16, the lovely Lita Ford at 15, White Lion at 14, 13 is Whitesnake, 12 is Winger, and 11 is Rats. All right, Nez, I'm going to go straight to you because I almost forgot you in the last round. Give me your thoughts on this 10 here.
I love the Scorpions. I love the Scorpions, but something about them just, I don't know. I don't think they're like hair metal to me. They're like hard rock metal. They've been around longer than everybody, so they kind of like in the early 80s tried to make that shift with their Big City Nights stuff. I love it all. But
we've seen that early 70s picture of them in denim and shorts.
Right. Oh yeah. But of favorites for me are obviously Kiss. I am a fan of the early 80s. So you're looking at Animalize, Lick It Up. I do love those.
I became a Kiss fan because of 80s Kiss. And then I went back and listened to the rest of them. But I love 80s Kiss.
Yeah. And I know there was one more you flicked through that I was like...
That's Skid Row, Great White.
It's Rat.
Okay. Yeah.
Rat. Absolutely. They just put out some like really cool stuff, and they were ones like band like Quiet Riot and Motley Crue that really made the genre a popular thing and brought it into households and through your TV and your radio dial.
Yeah,
so I love Rat.
All right, Dick, give me your thoughts on this 10.
So I, like you, got into Kiss in the 80s. I think they're definitely up there, but they have they're of that era. Lita Ford, I'm a big White Lion guy. I love Rat. I think Rat is probably in my top 3. Winger as a band had a success, and then they were sort of slaughtered by Beavis and Butthead.
Yes,
really.
They talk about that, by the way, in that documentary that came out.
Yeah, I mean, it really. I mean, but look at that hair right there. That's some 80s hair. That's the hair. That ain't Euro hair.
Yeah.
And then Whitesnake's like a greatest hits band of greatest artists. You know, they brought in John Sykes on guitar, then they bring in Vivian Campbell, then Steve Vai. A great. They might
not to mention they had to bring in a stylist too to make sure they looked the part.
Their video.
Yeah. One of the most infamous videos with Tawny Katane. So, Mike, Mr. Simmer, what do you think of this 10?
So, here's my hot take: 3 of these bands should be in the top 10, right?
Oh.
Rat is probably, I would say, Rat maybe even top 3, right?
Yeah, okay.
Top 3, right? Scorpions are not hair metal. They're just not. I would agree with Nez completely.
Yeah, I mean,
agree. When you think about the Zoo and Still Loving You and all those came way before hair metal came out. And Whitesnake epitomizes hair metal. I always thought they are a super group.
Yeah,
they're a super group, but that Here I Go Again is the epitome of hair metal. And Dick's going to be happy with me. I think White Lion should be in the top 10. I really, they had about 3 or 4 hits, and they looked the part. They sounded the part. I would think so. So the two whites and a rat should be in the top 10.
You know, what's interesting is I agree with most of what you guys are saying. I'm actually struggling with Skid Row because I love them so much, but I kind of feel like
they're not hair metal.
Yeah, I mean, especially that second album, man, which is probably
it kicks. It kicks.
Yeah.
It kicks. Yeah, it's really heavy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they look
the attitude. No.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, great White thing going there. Of course, I love Lita Ford. White Line, I would say, but I think we agree that definitely White or Rat should be a lot higher and probably in the top 10. We'll see if we get to that. So yeah, all right. Who am I missing? Anyone else here? Everyone got their thoughts on these?
Got them all.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Here is VH1's top 40 hair bands, top 10. Here we go. We've got Dokken at number 10, followed by Slaughter at number 9, Def Leppard at number 8, Quiet Riot at number 7, Warrant at number 6, Cinderella at number 5, Motley Crue at number 4, Bon Jovi at number 3, Twisted Sister at number 2, and number 1, Poison. Mike, I'm going to have you go first. It's going to be a tough job for us, man.
I got some hot takes on here. Poison should. I mean, Poison probably is number 1. I may flip-flop Motley Crue for them. Nez is gonna hate me for this. I'm not sure Twisted Sister should be up there because I'm not. Again, they had that one album of hair metal, right? One album, and then after that, they sort of dished that look a little bit, right?
They did.
So I'm not. I mean, they're very important to the genre with their 2 songs, but I'm not sure that they should be up that high. Cinderella, I always felt bad for because they were a blues band that got sucked into hair metal.
But look at their hair, though. They had like the best hair.
Yeah, they are. But listen, when you hear their later stuff, it's all blues based stuff.
It's blues rock at its finest.
It's blues rock.
They were trying to shed the label.
Yes, they were. And I think there was one other band that I was. If you go, Quiet Riot's obviously there. Oh, Def Leppard was never hair metal to me. They I mean, Hysteria was, but when they came out with in that first album, Pyromania, that was not hair metal. That was just straight up rock. And On Through the Night was just straight up rock too. They had a hair metal. They're like Kiss. They had a hair metal era, but I don't know how important they were to the genre of hair metal.
This album, when they released Hysteria, this was the hair metal era because obviously you had a lot of, they had like 8 hits off that song, Pour Some Sugar on Me. But more importantly, you had the Ripped Jeans by Joe Elliott that set a trend. And you know how I know it set a trend, guys? Because I did that to my pants. All right, let's go down to you, Dick. Let me get your thoughts here on the top 10. And I'm going to go ahead and go over them again here. I got Dokken at number 10, Slaughter at 9, Leopard at 8, Quiet Riot at 7, Warrant at 6, Cinderella at 5, Motley Crue at 4, Bon Jovi at 3, Twisted Sister at 2, and Poison at 1. Now, before you answer, I just want to mention this real quick, is that our Sleaze Meter that I mentioned is going to, or that I will mention again, is going to kind of define the hair metal a little bit more than the way that these were kind of clumped into this VH1 list here. So, like, I don't want to change your mind on anything, Dick, but give me your thoughts on this 10.
So I know Nez might hate me, but I think Twisted Sister is farther down on the list. I like Poison at number 1, but in my top 3, let's say, could be Poison, Rat, and Motley Crue. And I think that Bon Jovi, for me, as a hair metal band, they're less metal, more hair, in my opinion.
I think Dee Snider said it best, that they were nice. They were the nice band.
We'll talk about that when it gets to the sleaze factor. Slaughter, from going down, like Dokken. Even in the Dokken documentary, like the behind the music, they even say we just follow the trends. They were good musicians, but they did a lot of trend following. Slaughter had good music and they had the looks. Def Leppard for sure. Quiet Riot definitely. Although by the time the mid '80s happened, Quiet Riot were sort of destructing. You know,
they weren't. They didn't seem to carry the torch for very long. They passed it on.
They didn't even care.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Warrant's a fantastic band. I'm a big Warrant fan, big Cinderella fan.
Warren had those matching white leather outfits. They had the ballad. Yeah.
They had the videos, and we'll talk about that later. But like, you know, as far and also if you look at that hair right there, like you got the coif the side, you got the full plumage, you got like, you know.
Yeah, there's like one guy that said, "Yeah, I'll take the poodle cut," you know.
Guys got
all right.
All
right, Nez. What about you?
I feel like my tastes in music were actually changing when some of these bands like Slaughter broke and Warrant, that I was not into their gig. Whereas when I came up, like a band like Motley Crue and Quiet Riot and Twisted Sister were bands that I liked. But then I was slowly getting out of that and getting into more thrash and speed metal when these other bands were coming along. So I just was kind of dismissive of them. But I will say, just looking at it now, Twisted Sister were only put at number 2 because D was hosting it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. And I love Twisted Sister,
right.
but they definitely could not beat Motley frigging Crue. Give me.
I think Mikey made the best argument about, you know, they just had that one album that had that look.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think I'm not a big Poison fan at all. They're not my number 1, but I understand why they're top 10. Motley Crue, obviously. Now, what I want to say about Def Leppard and Bon Jovi is that when I was in high school and these bands were on top of the world, people could be a Bon Jovi or Def Leppard fan without embracing the rest of metal. It was safe for them. And it didn't necessarily mean that they liked Motley Crue or AC/DC or anything heavy. They just liked that. So that's why those bands, I'm like, get them off this list. Like because of record sales, you know, they're in that top 10 and everybody knows who they are. But as far as being like really like true to it, I'm saying, no, you're not in my top 10.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're here, you know, and that's why we're going to do our top 10 and we want to kind of narrow it down a little bit. So we've just gone over the VH1 top 40 hair bands list, but there's still more that we need to mention here. And I found an article that was called 13 Underrated Hair Metal Bands to Rock Your World. And I've actually heard a lot of these bands here. And I want to see if you guys have. Cats in Boots. They had a song called Shotgun Sally. The band we talked about earlier, Tough. Okay. They had one they called I Hate Kissing You Goodbye. We also had Pretty Boy Floyd. Talk about glam metal at its finest. And Steve Summers, the lead singer, he's still going on. He's still doing his thing. They had a song called Rock and Roll is Gonna Get You All Night and I Want to Be With You. And then I remember these guys, Vane, head by Davey Vane. They were a LA sleaze band. I don't know. Did you guys heard of Vane? Anyone?
No, I've heard of Pretty Boy Floyd, but not Vane.
And this is what happens when you live too close to LA. I'm just telling you guys. But their song was Beat the Bullet. That was their thing. And this band I know you heard of, Bang Tango, guys. My favorite band of all time. They definitely did the sleaze and they had some great songs on there. But I felt like they were just like too good of musicians that kind of got thrown into this because, man, they were good. And, of course, earlier mentioned of Brittany Fox. We talked about them already. Who remembers Every Mother's Nightmare and Junkyard, guys? Remember these guys?
Junkyard.
Junkyard is, yeah. Junkyard is great.
Do you like Junkyard, Nez?
Yeah.
I like Junkyard a lot. Now, I think they were a band that came. They were stuck, I think, too, between, you know, because they weren't really hair metal. They were like sort of LA Guns-ish, you know. Their guitar player was like from Texas. I remember he had like a beer belly, you know,
and they didn't look glam, but they they had this kind of bluesy, kick you in the nuts like sound. It was great.
I like that a lot.
Hollywood was their big hit, and then they had their ballad Simple Man. And the lead singer is still touring as Junkyard. I saw them recently, but they didn't play Simple Man. I was a little bummed about that. But
what? No. Remember, it wasn't that Simple Man. It was like their own song, Simple Man. I know you've heard it. I know you've heard it. Because it had a lot of play on Headbangers Ball.
They were unfortunately compared to like a Guns N' Roses ripoff a little bit because they were definitely dirty and sleazy and stuff. And then Every Mother's Nightmare, I remember them. They had a song called Walls Come Down. It was an MTV
I remember that.
Quick hit, yeah. All right, next we have Sleaze Bees and Babylon AD. Sleaze Bees had one of their big hits, Stranger Than Paradise. These guys are from the Netherlands. And then Babylon AD, their song was Bang Go the Bells and Hammer Swings Down and The Kid Goes Wild. Guys, I didn't discover Sleaze Bees until I was like in the early 2000s when they were starting to do like internet radio, and I found a hair metal station, and I freaking love these guys. You guys remember Sleaze Bees in Babylon?
Sleaze Bees a lot. And I used to live in the Netherlands, and they were still big there.
Nice.
Never heard of them.
The Kid Goes Wild was the song in RoboCop 2.
That's right. Nice call out there, Dick. I love that.
I just remember the commercial. I was like, "What song is that? I've got to get that."
Now the next two are Sea Hags and Bo Nasty. Now, Sea Hags was a San Francisco. Hold on, we're gonna talk about Bo Nasty in a second.
He's good. Come on, this was made up. You made this up.
No. I actually have this album, guys. I have this album.
You AI these albums.
I did not AI Bo Nasty. That is their actual album cover.
That's awful.
Sea Hags came from California, San Francisco. Kurt Hammock helped them out. Ian Astbury actually produced their album. I've never actually heard their songs, but they had a song called Under the Night Stars for the horror. It was a soundtrack for Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. And Bo Nasty, their song is called Shake It. They're from Los Angeles, and they released their solo album. Their first studio album was Dirty But Well Dressed in 1989. And they decided to dress like Napoleonic type stuff.
You said they're from LA. I thought they were from the 1700s.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, and this is Nez and I talk about this all the time. There's not one of those five guys said, "Hey, this may not be a great idea," to dress up like this. Like,
I gotta tell you though,
and everybody said, "Yeah, that's great."
I gotta tell you, their album's not half bad. But what's funny is that they got their song "Shake It" got airplay in 1989 when their album was released, but by the end of 1899, they disbanded.
I mean,
all right. Next, we have what I like to call the English version of Poison, and that's Tiger Tails. They're out of Cardiff, Wales, and they emerged in the early 80s, formed in 1984. They've gone through several lineup changes, but they have a couple songs called Living Without You, which is their ballad. But Love Bomb Baby is probably the big rock hit. And they're actually still touring in and around UK. And their album's a lot of fun. It's pop metal rock. And I remember like replying on one of their Facebook posts saying, "When are you guys going to come down to the States?" And they're like, "Well, if you know a producer and a promoter that'll pay for us, please let us know."
You should.
You guys
make
remember
that? Happen, Kev. Should make that
What's
happen.
That? I know, right?
Have them play in your backyard.
Yeah. All right. So there's some other mentions here. Of course, we've got Nitro. Now I need to talk about Nitro, guys. Jim Gillette is a lead singer. His voice octave is insane on the Freight Train song off their debut album, and their guitar player Michael Angelo plays the 4-net guitar, and he's like the master of tapping. But if you Google hair metal, this is the picture that comes up is them. When I put a poll out, when I first started this podcast network with my buddy Kyle, and I wanted to start a hair metal podcast and Facebook group, I put a picture of Nitro saying, "Would anyone be interested in coming on as a guest and joining our group?" Guys, Guns N' Roses. Why weren't they on the top 40 list
Not hair,
of VH1?
not hair metal.
True.
Not hair metal.
Steven Adler. Stuff. I don't know.
I mean, they had all of the other parts of the hair metal stuff, but they just didn't have the look, I guess, right? They had the ballads, had the rock songs, their lifestyle. I guess that's why they weren't on there, right?
I mean, I think that their music comes off more serious.
Yeah.
Which is just, I think it is. It's more serious than Poison.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think they presented a really cool dose of like danger to the scene, and hair metal wasn't really supposed to do that where you took it seriously. Like,
and they were talking about like drugs and almost dying, and I mean their songs weren't always about partying and having fun. There was their lyrics were kind of nasty. So yeah,
I don't think there's one song on Appetite for Destruction is about partying.
Yeah.
Maybe
All right.
maybe Paradise City, but that's about it.
The next,
but
the next two bands are LA area royalty to a certain degree, and that is Jet Boy. They were kind of the band's band, and Ricky Rackman loved these guys. Guns N' Roses loved these guys. They just didn't quite hit. And also, Enough's Enough. They had the glam, they had the videos, the look, the ballad. And I remember being down there, and I remember asking this girl, and she was like a huge groupie, and she was a friend of a friend. And I got to ask you, like, who are the band? Who's the band right now? Everyone's trying to hook up with. She says, by far, Enough's Enough. They're fucking everybody. That was her quote. I'm just telling you. Do you guys know Jet Boy?
No.
I think
I don't know Jet
former
Boy.
member of Hanoi Rocks was in them. Was Sammy Yaffa in?
I don't know. They're known. Their song "Feel the Shake" was their big song. Of course, Fly High Michelle was the one for Enough's Enough. New thing as well. And by the way, I did see Chip Z'Nuff. He's the bass player. He's carrying on the name. I saw them play back in 2018 in Georgia. I got to meet Chip, cool guy. Still flying the Enough's Enough flags. There you go. Couple more here.
I remember MTV really being high on Enough's Enough.
Like, they were.
Yeah, they kind of, what was cool about them was that they were definitely hair metal, but they kind of had the 60s peace vibe going with them as well. Yeah. Okay, these are all off your suggestions here, guys. We had TNT.
A big thing. These are my top two right here. But
TNT and Black and Blue. What was that, Mike?
Both of these bands should have been on that top 40 list.
Yeah.
Both of these bands.
Yeah. Lead singer of Black and Blue, boy, did he have that quaff, man. He was looking definitely hair on that one. So, yeah.
D. Snyder.
Next, we have a couple of my favorites here, of course. We have Little Caesar and, of course, The Cult. Little Caesar and Cult. And by the way, Little Caesar, I love. They had the cover song Chain of Fools, which I don't know if we mentioned in the hair metal covers, and I regret not bringing it up if I didn't. I can't remember.
I think we did. I think we did talk about that.
Did we? Okay.
Nez and I have an amazing Little Caesar story that I'll have to tell you off of this.
Okay, definitely tell me. But he also, the lead singer, by the way, they're still touring. I saw them recently.
Oh yeah, we know that. Yeah.
And the lead singer made a little movie history too. He was in the beginning of Terminator 2. He played one of the tough guys with the pull cue that tries to knock out the T-800 Terminator when he was looking for some clothes, and he got thrown across the pool. So that he was in that. Former bouncer as well. So The Cult, guys, are they just not sleazy enough? Why? What's up with The Cult? Are they too cool? I think they're just too cool.
They were goth-like in their formative years. That's kind of, and more the indie kids, I thought, embraced them. Like if you like Susie and the Banshees, like you kind of were like into early Cult, even The Cure, like like that type of thing.
You can tell from that photo. There's no other colors. It's just black and denim. That's it. There's no splash of yellow. There's no splash of anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Love them.
Next we have Rock City Angels and Queensryche.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, Nez, I want you to make your case for Rock City Angels.
Again, they were supposed to be the competition to Guns N' Roses. They were on Geffen Records. They're solid players. Like, clearly, they had that Southern rock filth going on. I thought it was like a little too ambitious that their debut and really only album was a double LP. That's a lot to put on a listener, you know. I just thought they slammed. They just seemed like filthy bastards, and I absolutely love Rock City Angels. Bobby Durango, I think of him every day.
I put Queensryche on here because they got lumped in there, but with their concept albums, and I don't know what the hell Jeff Tate was doing with his hair during this time,
or any of them.
It was just
any of them.
Yeah, it was unnerving. Great band though. I've seen him live. He's an amazing vocalist, but you know, everyone was kind of getting lumped in these, and they were all, you know, opening up for each other. So I don't know if Queensryche belongs on there, but we got a couple more here, and I'm really glad you guys mentioned this. DAD, otherwise known as Disneyland After Dark, Danish band. With they had a few hits, and of course Gorky Park, our Russian version of hair metal era band. I just want to mention DAD real quick. Of course, their big song was "Sleeping My Day Away," and I finally got to see them play live when they play all over in Europe in festivals and stuff. They still got a huge following, and they're still together. The only original player is the drummer, and he's been with them for 20 years now. So that tells you how tight they are. But they played in Australia back in 2022. I finally got to see them. The place was packed. They sold out of merch. I bought 2 t-shirts myself. They were amazing. Love these guys. Definitely had the look, but they're a little too bluesy rock to be hair. Gorky Park, I remember when they came out and opened up for the Moscow Music Peace Festival. They had a song called Bang Bang, I think that it was. Your thoughts on these guys? Who brought up this? Was this you, Dick? Or
I brought up Gorky Park because
okay, Dick, make your case here for Gorky Park.
I mean, they're like I said, they're Russia's answer to the Scorpions, which I don't know if that leads to. They're not very hair metal. They look like, you know, the Village People in that photo, but.
Yeah, the picture I picked probably wasn't the best one to pick, but you know, just I laughed at their style. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, the guy on the left, what is he doing?
I don't know, that weird yellow pants stripe jumpsuit.
Again, I can't believe the rest of the band didn't say, "Dude, you aren't wearing that on this album cover. You're not. Go back and put a shirt on."
He's probably saying to them, "No, this is what Americans wear." Like, look.
Real quick, anyone else remember DAD? No,
that one's past me.
All right, look up "Sleeping Your Day Away." The reason why is the bass player is famous for playing a 2-string bass. The video, he only plays the top 2 strings. Now he plays into it. His basses are all custom made with thinner necks that only have the top 2 strings of a bass. And they're all these like flamboyant looking guitars and stuff. And he played 2 of them on stage when I saw them live a couple of years ago. Great. And by the way, they got a really good rock and roll, like dirty, bluesy feel at times. And they put on a great show.
Now, let's be honest. Most bass players only need 2 strings.
It's true. All right. Now is the time, guys. We've gone over VH1's top 40 hair bands. We've gone over some honorable mentions here, and those are when I polled you guys. I'm like, I need some other names on here. So it is time to pick our top 10 hair metal bands based on the 5-point Sleaze Meter. And this is how I came up with this, with your input here, guys. And we really need to narrow it down because we want to play into the cliche of hair metal. We want to play into everything that we saw and heard from these bands. And it starts with number 1, overall band image. That includes the hair, clothes, and makeup, props, and stage show, including their fancy guitars, whatever their gimmicks they had. Number 2, their popular MTV video airplay and the song's content. That includes popular rock songs and, of course, the ballads. Famous video vixens. Did they have those? Songs about partying, sex in the 80s, lifestyle, and indulgence. All right. 5-point number 3 is the album covers that they had. 80s metal cliche imagery, i.e., devil, Satan, horror, shock rock, misogynistic or androgynistic, and glam imagery. Number 4 is their reputation, their lifestyle. Were they famous or infamous or both? Drugs, jail, court appearances. Did they kill somebody or did they die themselves? Have a member. Dated or married famous models, strippers, or porn stars. And number 5, to sum it all up, their overall sleaze factor. All right. I'm giving you guys a lot to think about. Before we start saying, anyone want to say anything? Is there anything they're questioning about how we're going to approach this? Everybody ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. So, as I did last time when we were doing the top 10 hair metal cover songs of all time, I like to start off with the easy walk-in Hall of Famers, kind of like what happens with the NFL. This guy, like, you know, these guys that deserve to go right in there without even being voted, even though they will be voted. Who do you think should walk in right away? I want you guys to give me your top 2 right now. Nez, I'm going to start with you.
Motley Crue, and I am going to say Wasp. Motley Crue and Wasp.
Okay. All right. Dick, what about you?
I got Motley Crue and Poison.
Okay. All right. Mike, what about you?
Motley Crue and Rat.
All right. I'm going to go with Motley Crue and Poison, but I think for the top 3, we could do Motley Crue, Poison, and Rat, and then we can talk about Wasp because I think they should be up there too. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put Motley Crue at 1. I mean, these aren't really in any particular order right now, but Motley Crue, Poison, and then Rat. Now, the reason, let's talk about this real quick here, because Motley Crue, I think they've had everything on this list, guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, hair, clothes, makeup, stage, prop shows. Of course, you know, more famous with
Murder.
Yes, killing someone, you know. Yeah, yes. Vince Neil, of course, was in that infamous night with Razzle from Hanoi Rocks and crashed. They've been in jail. Literally, Nikki Sixx died, came back. Popular videos, one of the most popular ballads of all time, Home Sweet Home. Their album covers, definitely.
Devil, girls,
yes,
drugs.
If we put them at 1 over Poison, is anyone going to argue that?
Not at all. No, they're number 1.
They should be number 1 anyways.
Let's debate 2 and 3 though. Poison and Rat. I feel Poison should probably be at 2 because they played longer. They've had more infamous moments, especially the famous MTV coked up CC DeVille fight afterwards. Them bringing on Richie Kotzen sleeping with one of the band members' wives, you know, fist fights. Rat obviously had drugs. Rest in peace, Robin Crosby. I would vote to put Poison at number 2 and Rat at number 3. Can you guys make a case for not that, having Rat at number 2?
I feel, in my opinion, Rat were in the game earlier. I feel musicianship, they were a better band.
Yep.
And I just felt that while Poison clearly had the full-on glam, I think Rat, just the name itself, they're just a sleazier group of dudes from that time.
And they were based out of the Southern California area as well. And
Absolutely.
I think the biggest point you made there, you're starting to convince me to turn here because they were around longer in LA and stuff. They started as Mickey Rat and then went to Rat. What do you guys think of Nez's argument, Mike?
Well, we could go round and round on this, but I'm going to lay it down.
Well played, Mike. Well played.
Wow.
I would put Rat at number 2. I would. Yeah, it's tough. Rat never really had a ballad. That's the only problem. Rat never really had a ballad.
It's a good point.
It came later. It was called "Giving Yourself Away" on Detonator.
But I mean, Way Cool Jr. I mean,
my favorite Rat song.
If that isn't, I mean, Slip of the Lip is the best, one of the best. That's my favorite Rat song and one of the best riffs ever. I love that riff.
I love the fact that they had Tawny Katane on their album cover as well.
And yeah, they had Tawny Katane before anybody knew Tawny Katane.
He was Robin Crosby's high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
And also, didn't they give Milton Berle in a freaking video?
Yep,
yeah, he was around, and he was in Back for More as well.
Yeah,
he was in the Back for More video too, and he was I think their manager's uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got to put Rat ahead of Poison.
I'm kind of leaning that way. And Dick, what do you think?
I'm still going to go with Poison because Poison is more synonymous with that era.
Yeah.
They had wider reach of they were
true.
They were on top of the charts and top of the videos more than Rat. I would bet more people could name more songs from Poison. And the exploits are more egregious and well known, I would say.
You know what?
Let me ask you this, Dick.
Yeah.
Robin Crosby doesn't die. Who's bigger now?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah. I mean, I think when Robin Crosby died, that killed Rat.
Yeah, but he died in the late 90s. He died in the late 90s though, right? Yeah. It wasn't like he passed away like, at the tail end of the hair metal era. And Poison also has endured as well. All right, I'm going to make the final call. I'm going to give Poison at 2 and Rat at 3. All right, I think it's fair. 2 and 1, 1 and 2. I think you made the best point there, Dick, about their they had the ballads, and they had them sooner, and so yeah, it's tough, but yeah. Okay. Nez ain't having it right now.
I disagree with you, Kevin.
Because he was outnumbered 3-1, and he was the last person to speak, and he's like swayed you, and it's just we see this happen in politics a little too often.
But he made the point about the videos, and when we look at the Sleaze Meter, okay, so they all had hair, clothes, makeup, prop shows, and fancy guitars, right? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Popular rock and ballad videos. Rat didn't have the ballad videos. And we talked about earlier in our chat, that was one of the main points was the ballads, right?
Okay.
And Poison had more than one.
Rat loses out on the ballads. I'll give you that.
Yes. Yep.
And staying power.
It's like that category.
And remember, like in terms of staying power, is we're looking back at this historically, but with hindsight is 2020. Like Bret Michaels had a love game show. Like you still know who he is because
Rock Bus of Love, baby. Yeah,
Rock of Love and Rock Bus. Yeah, like
all right.
Yeah.
That's why we have the Sleaze Meter, guys. You got to go to that.
I would admit that I regularly do to Nez almost on a daily basis that my bias sometimes has a lot to do with my determination. And I just like Rat better than I like Poison. That's why I put him at number 2. Well,
I actually do too. But
Poison.
Yeah,
Rat, Poison. Yeah.
All right, that is the top 3. We have Motley Crue at 1, Poison, Rat. All right, let's get the rest of the list here, guys. I saw, and I'm not going to argue this. I saw Wasp up there, guys. Mm-hmm. I want you guys to give me your other top 2 that should be in this list. Let's start with you, Nez.
Faster Pussycat. And then I really want Hanoi Rocks. And it is just me being a huge fan of those guys. And they were dirty. Andy McCoy had his like heroin addiction. They were super talented. So their live presentation off of this one, especially this
Hanoi Rocks,
Rock and Roll Divorce, I believe, like it's filthy as far as Michael Monroe's like stage banter when he introduces Taxi Driver. It's like really dirty. Like we got in big trouble when my father heard that one. But absolutely like just a trashy outfit and
yep.
Just fantastic. They had a ballad that was not huge in the States, but it was called Don't You Ever Leave Me, Baby. It was a song that was like really big for them. It was released as a single. And their catalog was extensive, believe it or not. A lot of albums before they tragically ended. So I'm going with Hanoi Rocks and Faster Pussycat because those guys are I mean, Bathroom Wall. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it doesn't get dirtier than that. And he owned the Cat House.
Yeah, and they had a ballad. They had House of Pain. So
House
yeah.
of
Yeah, House of Pain, great song.
Huge.
Okay, Dick, let's go to you. Give me 2 more nominees here.
I got Warrant and Whitesnake.
Oh,
Videos.
Dick.
What? No.
I would. I'm Dick. I'm totally with you on Warrant. Totally with you on Warrant. Totally.
The Cherry Pie video for the person from my age. All right. And here I go again. And Whitesnake just had, they had
the epitome of hair metal music, imagery, and video vixen, and you married the ultimate video vixen, Tawny Katane.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't know that he killed anybody, but
Yeah.
he was a hobo, and then he became a
He
drifter.
was so old. That's the thing.
I don't disagree. I don't
He
disagree with
was
the age.
old. He was an old man trying
Doesn't
to
matter. Doesn't matter.
like he was like twice the age of Steve Vai, and I just all right, fine.
It was image. It was sound. It didn't matter how old you were. He was hiding it well. Mike, give me a top 2 to consider here.
Sorry, so I would put Warrant in there. The Cherry Pie video, the Down Boys video where they're dancing, where they get down on their knees, and
Synchronized dancing, yes.
Synchronized dancing, yes, absolutely. Dick knows the moves.
Yep.
Plus, I mean, just the lyric, you got a lot of nerve to call me cheap, even though it's true. That's just about as hair metal as you get right there.
And you had one of the most ultimate hair metal ballads with
yeah. I mean and the musicianship was there. You would hear Uncle Tom's Cabin. They were actually really good.
Fantastic song.
Yeah, they were really good musicians.
I Saw Red, another good ballad.
I Saw Red is a good ballad. So I got to put Warrant up there. And I'm gonna again piss off Nez. I don't think Wasp should be in the top 5. I'll tell you why. I never thought Wasp was hair metal. I never thought they were. I thought they were like their own different category. I mean, they had the shock. They had it was like horror rock. It was like shock rock. It wasn't. Hold
on a second here. That's part of the Sleaze Meter here though, because they had Sleaze.
Yeah, that was. All right. So that was the electric.
Yeah, they had Sleaze. They had album cover cliche imagery.
Yeah.
Oh
their props stage show. And if you need video of this, watch that documentary, Nothing But a Good Time.
Yeah,
they talk about.
So you swear. I would put them in before Whitesnake, but Whitesnake would be number 6.
Whitesnake
would be 6.
Whitesnake are closer to 1 than Wasp.
No. I'm saying Wasp is number 5.
Okay.
Wasp is number 5, but Whitesnake is right on their tail.
I mean, they literally this song. I don't know, Kevin, if I'm allowed to show it, but this song was on the Filthy 15.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at that. The saw blade on the crotch. I love it.
Oh,
hold on. I'm going to highlight you there. I want to see that. Hold on.
Look at that, dude. Look at that. That is unbelievable. Come on. This thing shot sparks. Look at these filthy guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You've convinced me. They're number 5. Whitesnake.
Okay, so hold on. Okay. So these are some good ones here, and I'm going to agree with Warrant as well. I think Warrant definitely needs to get up there because they covered the gambit. They had more than one great album. The looks, and Cherry Pie really kind of carried it over for them. That was it right there. A lot of people could say that was like, okay, that's indulgence. That's the end of hair metal. We're going to have this band from Seattle just finish off.
Yeah, right.
He might have gotten Nirvana more play.
So at number 4, I'm going to put Warrant in there. Okay. And I want to, before I talk about, I want Wasp to be in this top 10, but I want to talk about Faster Pussycat and LA Guns here.
Okay.
Those would be ones for me too as well. Faster Pussycat, God, talk about sleaze. They had the ballad, they had the look. Mm-hmm. They were probably a little light on their stage show, but they had the looks though. Definitely. They had the makeup. Popular rock and ballads. No video vixens. I don't know. A lot of songs about partying and sex, of course. Definitely 80s metal cliche on their cover albums, I would say.
They had the androgynous look. When I first saw Faster Pussycat, I thought that Brent Mescat was a woman.
Oh, yeah, and he was the most gorgeous guy.
I was convinced that was a woman.
They talked about him on the VH1 Top 40 Hair Metal Band. He was like the sexy one, all the girls like digging after him. So yeah, LA Guns, guys, another sleazy band. They also, of course, had the famous ballad as well. Heck, I mean, it could be a knock against them if you want to talk about Tracy Guns cutting his hair for Jane ballad. I don't know. Where do you guys stand, Dick and Mike, on LA Guns and Faster Pussycat?
Yeah, I mean, they're right there.
I'm surprised Faster Pussycat was so low on that list.
Yeah, I agree.
Like in the 30s, whatever.
Right.
I want to come back around to Hanoi Rocks. The problem with Hanoi Rocks is that they just didn't quite hit here in the States. They started it. They influenced everybody, and they're like the godfathers of it, but they themselves fizzled out, unfortunately. And of course, we do have our number one on our list to thank for that because, well, Razzle died, and that kind of ended the band. It's sad. But this list is too small for me to consider Hanoi Rocks for me personally. What do you say, Dick?
I was saying Hanoi Rocks propped up the idea of hair metal, and everyone else just,
took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, took the ball and ran with it.
What about you, Mike?
I mean, I love Hanoi Rocks. I got a lot of respect for them. I don't know if they should be in the top 5. I don't know. They just weren't around long enough. They just weren't. I mean, I've always thought that if Hanoi Rocks stood around, and I still to this day don't understand why the drummer dying broke them up.
I know.
It's just so bizarre to me. There's got to be something else to that story. I don't know if Michael Monroe and Razzle were really close, and he just
we talked about that in one of the earlier podcasts.
Yeah, we did. I don't understand why. I mean, you'd be able to swing a dead cat up and down Sunset Boulevard and find a drummer.
Yeah,
I mean, I just don't get it. That was always perplexing to me. But I don't know if they should fit in there ahead of the 5 that we put in there.
So I want to talk about
Faster Pussycat ahead of Hanoi Rocks.
What about Whitesnake, though? I want to come back to Whitesnake here.
Well, Nez did say, that their knock on them was Coverdale was like 103 years old, right? So when that came out, but he was dating Tawny. He did marry Tawny Katane.
Yeah, I mean, their videos are so famous for those reasons, and they had the ballads, they had the rock songs. They had the look, and plus, yes, they had a multitude of, merry-go-round players in this, but I think that's another reason why they should be up there.
Where's the sleaze?
The English accent. It's sleazy. It's just a little.
No, Nez, that Here I Go Again video is pretty sleazy for the time.
It is.
It was opportunistic. The other guys like Motley Crue, Faster Pussycat, Chris Holmes of Wasp, they lived it. Robin Crosby, God rest his soul, lived it. Whitesnake were just so, oh my God, curated and manicured, and they did what they had to do. David covered recycled songs from the 70s and had like the 80s spin put on it so he could just kind of fit into this type of stuff. I'm sorry. But something, guys, I'm always used to the 3 of you kicking the shit out of my ideas anyway on this.
They're terrible.
When he said that, he froze, which is the best.
There you go. Well, you make a good point. There is, even though the video is sexy and sleazy, is the band sleazy, and I never got that from them. So you make a good point, Nez. You do. Okay.
Well, we get Sleaze Meter. I mean, we have a whole different thing.
Yeah. I mean, lifestyle. I mean, beyond the videos, they seemed like a good rock band with a lot of good people in it, right? I mean,
pampered.
Yeah. What about under Reputation, band members are notorious assholes? Was Coverdale an asshole? Is that following that?
On Sykes apparently was.
All right.
suppose
So
they-
I think we can agree, though, that Wasp, LA Guns, and Faster Pussycat are bands that should probably be considered and maybe thrown in this list here.
Yes.
Yes.
I would. Mike?
I love them. Yes.
absolutely, yes.
All right. Well, who do you want at 5, right behind Warrant? Wasp? That's what I was thinking.
Wasp.
Yeah.
Wasp.
Okay. All right. What about 6 and 7? Does it matter? LA? Who's sleazier? Overall sleaze factor. Is it LA Guns or Faster Pussycat?
Faster Pussy.
Faster Pussycat,
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha. All right.
and then LA Guns.
Yeah.
I like that. You cool with that, Dick?
Oh yeah.
All right. I love this. All right. We have 3 more slots, and we can do a honorable mention as well. So if you guys need a reminder, the VH1 top 10 was is it here? I have it here. Hold on. Let's go here. Okay, so we had Poison at 1, Twisted Sister, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Cinderella, Warrant, Quiet Riot, Def Leppard, Slaughter, Dokken. Rat, we've already put up there. Winger, Whitesnake, we're still White Line, Lita Ford, Great White, Skid Row, 80s Kiss, Brittany Fox, Danger, Striper, Bullet Boys. Those are some more notable ones. Yeah.
We gotta get.
What do you guys think?
Kiss?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm gonna throw Dokken out there.
That's a good one too.
No, put him in.
For
Yeah.
I mean, Doc. For Sleaze. I mean, yeah. I mean, they don't have any sleaze. They missed the boat on the sleaze, and I don't even think, did they have like video vixens? I don't even think they did. It really
Did they?
Freddy Krueger was in every one of their videos.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger.
What was their ballad?
Alone Again.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so they had the ballad.
Hmm.
They were known for partying and sex, definitely on the sleaze meter there.
Okay.
Clothes, makeup, prop, stage show, popular MTV video airplay. For me, Rat was like one of the early ones to really showcase that a lot, along with a Motley Crue.
Yeah, I'm making my case for Dokken in that.
Okay. All right. What about you, Nez? You said Kiss, right? 80s Kiss.
Because in the 80s, I especially Gene Simmons's lyrics and Paul Stanley tells a story that he was embarrassed when he performed in New York when his parents were there, that he was doing that whole like, there's a party in my pants and you're all invited, my love gun, like that type of stuff. And he said he never really liked doing that, but he just knew that that's what was selling at the time. And let's put the X in sex. Love's like a muscle, and you make me want to flex.
Yeah.
Like
Heaven's on Fire, my favorite song.
Right.
Yeah.
And just the innuendos were just so ridiculous at this point. And they were older as well at this point in their lives as they're writing these lyrics for teenage boys and girls. And it was just gross and creepy.
And their spandex was out.
Oh yeah.
So you're giving Gene a pass on the old meter, but
yeah.
David Coverdale.
Who's older, Gene or Coverdale?
But Gene and them, they have the sleaze factor, and David really didn't. David was just like nice rocker.
And in the 80s is when Gene Simmons and Paul, but did they go on like Oprah, or they went on a show and they said like they slept with 2,000 women and they had photos to prove it, like stuff like that. So they were really overselling the we sleep with anything that's not nailed down or
dated, married, famous models, strippers, and porn stars. Yep.
Yeah.
Band members are notorious assholes.
Yeah.
Stage show. They had
Multiple
it.
band members are notorious for in that band.
Yeah. So I'm fine with getting Dokken and 80s Kiss in 8 and 9 slots, guys.
Yeah.
Anyone? Dick, you have a problem with that?
No, I mean I have a problem with Dokken, but I.
All right, what if we put Kiss at 8 and Dokken at 9?
That's fine. I'm looking at Dokken as a whole in terms of everything that we've talked about. I think Dokken is fine, yeah. Because I was going to push for Slaughter.
I like that. Yeah.
Because
I mean, they're just not. They didn't come across sleazy though, you know.
Up All Night.
But they definitely had the hits. They had the look. They had the hair, and they were good musicians.
Good musicians.
Yeah.
But it is funny that I look at my list because I've written down all the top 40, and in that top 10 that we're not talking about, Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, Bon Jovi, and Twisted Sister. And I think we all agree that they're not in that top 10.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I
can't believe no one has brought up Keel.
There's an honorable mention, Simmer. There's an honorable mention.
Stop it. Stop it.
Ronnie Lee Keel is getting no love.
All right. So what do you guys think about Slaughter? I'm liking that maybe at 10, but right behind Dawkins.
Not me, but you guys, you know.
No? Make your case. Why not?
Again, that was just where I just was not into what they were putting out there, but I understood why they were popular. I don't know enough about them. I was kind of angling for like possibly Quiet Riot because of Kevin DeBro's like ridiculousness and dying of a cocaine overdose and being an asshole. They're their awesome ballad "Winners Take All" off of Condition Critical. I mean, they Quiet Riot, but it's just a bias of I just never liked.
They had a ballad. It's true.
Yeah.
And we kind of have them to thank for kind of becoming popular.
Yeah, I would put Quiet Riot in there. I mean, what was that one? Was it
Party
where
All
they
Night?
Party All Night. Yeah, Party All Night. The video for Party All Night is so ridiculous.
We could get arrested just watching it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that. And there was that one. What was on the special that they later in their career they were playing a nudist colony? Did you ever see that video?
I remember that. Yes.
I mean that alone. Yeah, that whole. I mean that is about a spinal tap. So I would think that just because of that Quiet Riot was playing a nudist colony, I think that they deserve to be at the top.
Dick, are you okay with getting Quiet Riot in there?
I'm, talking it out. I actually agree.
Nez, well done. Okay, that's the top. Sorry, go ahead, Nez.
I was going to say, playing a nudist colony gives new meaning to banging your head.
Condition Critical. There you go. Okay, we have a top 10. Well, let me put it this way. Here's our top 10. Slaughter, let's talk about honorable mention. But I want to mention what our top 10 as we have it now. Number 1, Motley Crue. 2, Poison. 3, Rat. 4, Warrant. 5, Wasp. 6, Faster Pussycat. 7, LA Guns. 8, 80s Kiss. We have to say 80s Kiss. 9, Dawkins. 10, Quiet Riot. Is that a good list, guys?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Dick? Me too. Honorable mention.
Wait, is the honorable mention number 11, or is it somebody that's not on the list?
It's number 11, pretty much, yeah. But
Guns.
I was like,
Slaughter. I'm going with.
I'm kind of going towards Slaughter too. Yeah,
wild card here.
Either that or Whitesnake on my vote. Slaughter or Whitesnake.
Can I go wild card and not even mentioned on the list yet? Because when I was doing my research, I saw a photo of this person with the biggest hair I've ever seen, and it was 80s Ozzy Osbourne.
That's right. He did have some.
You're right. Yeah, with Jake.
I was like, there's a whole nother person up there.
Yeah.
And he's got, he had 80s. He's crazy. There's probably a death in there somewhere that there is.
Randy Rhoads.
Randy Rhoads, yeah.
Sometimes intolerable to work with. Alcohol problems, drug problems. Snorted ants in front of Motley Crue, probably.
As the ballad
stage show, yeah.
Crazy, satanic. I mean, he almost has it all.
What's his ballad?
It's Goodbye to Romance.
Goodbye to Romance. Yeah. But there was also that
Mama Coming Home.
Mama Coming Home. But
he has a bunch of ballads.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Songs about partying, sex, 80s lifestyle, indulgence.
Yeah.
I would say, what's that one called? No Bone Movies. Well, that's about watching porno flicks when your wife's not
He
home.
wins album covers, obviously.
Yeah.
Damn.
And Reputation, I think he wins that as well.
Yeah.
There, look at Dick coming in here, pinch hitting, man, on this one.
I wrote it down. I go, it's not on the 40.
He wasn't mentioned. What?
I know.
No.
Here's the thing. Here's the
I
thing.
think they don't think he's hair metal.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's
The image of the hair and stuff, that's one of the biggest things. Let's look at his imagery. He wasn't really about the imagery as he started going on. The early one, yes, he had that poof, but it was I don't know, mid 80s, late 80s. It was a little less about that, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
He wasn't bangable by chicks.
Yes, yeah.
Bang Motley Crue and Poison. They did not want to bang.
And he didn't. There was no like hot girls in videos and stuff. Yeah.
No, not at all.
I mean, I would. So the honorable mention, I gotta go Whitesnake or Slaughter, one of the two.
Dick, what do you want to say?
If it's going to go that way, I got to go either Whitesnake or White Lion.
White Lion they didn't come across sleazy.
No.
They did not.
They didn't have the reputation.
Well, their honorable mention. That's what.
No, but they had the hair. They had the ballads, the videos, lots of videos. But the other, if we're going towards a kind of sleazier side thing, I don't think that they get in there. But was Slaughter sleazy?
No.
Yeah.
We're not.
No.
All right.
Are we gonna forgive a couple of things on the Sleazy Meter to get that honorable mention? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm okay with that.
Slaughter
rules, you can break them.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
That Fly of the Angels song was huge.
Yeah.
And Up All Night is a great song, by the way, too.
And also, too, Blas Elias is the best looking drummer of all time. Just going to put that out there right now.
As drummers go, yeah.
Okay, so honorable mention, Slaughter over Whitesnake?
Yes, easily.
Sure.
That's going to anger some people because of those videos with Whitesnake. I mean, but we've made a case for the Sleaze Meter, though. So.
But Whitesnake was, we said it over and over again. They were a super group. And that.
But why is that a knock against them, though? That I don't understand. Make a case why that's a knock against them.
It was like building Frankenstein. It wasn't, they didn't come up like that.
That was the formula back then there, Mike. That was when producers were coming in. We need you to look good. We need you to do the ballad. We need you to have the sexy video. That was the formula to make these bands sellable. That was part of this whole era.
But look,
that's my argument against that.
Slash tried out for Poison. I mean, they're a super group.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Nez?
I mean, I'm going Slaughter because, again, just their anthem of Up All Night, Sleep All Day. When I always felt David Coverdale retired in his robe and slippers at like 9 p.m.
But he was in the still of the night, Nez.
That's how he operated, in the still of the night. You're right. I like that.
In the dark moonlight.
I would sooner take Slaughter and Twice on Sunday over Whitesnake.
Mike says Slaughter. What about you, Dick?
I'm good with Slaughter. I mean, I'm looking at my list and we could go through all of them all over again. But I think in terms of when you list all those, the 5 points, I got to go with Slaughter.
All right. Slaughter is going to be our honorable mention. All right, here's the list, guys. Slaughter, honorable mention, technically the 11th slot. 10, Quiet Riot. 9, Dokken. 8, 80s Kiss. 7, LA Guns. 6, Faster Pussycat. 5, Wasp. 4, Warrant. 3, Rat. 2, Poison. And 1, Motley Crue. Oh, Dick, you're on mute. You said something?
No, I was agreeing. Number 1, Motley Crue.
Okay.
Sorry, I hate you.
How do you guys feel about that list? Is that all right?
Yes.
That's a great list. I like that list.
It's a definitive list.
I love the way you guys argued stuff out. That was well done. That's why I love having you guys on here.
I'll let D. Snyder know that his list was complete crap and this was great.
He wasn't even considered, dude.
No,
we didn't even.
He was number 2 on that list, and we just skipped right over.
Yeah,
and keep in mind, for you that are listening and watching the video, we went with a different algorithm, a different guidelines than what they were doing at the time. And, and we agree Bon Jovi doesn't need to be on this list they were just the nice guys. And there's a reason why we know that they were the biggest band at the time. And of course they had the hair and the looks. And I liked your argument about Twisted Sister as well, Simmer. I think that was a good one as well.
Well, the algorithm that was different with us was that we didn't have to put Dee Snider's band in the list because he was the host.
Yes.
That was what was different.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap things up. All right, this is the Hair Metal Podcast on the Fandom Podcast Network, and you have been listening to episode 26 of the Hair Metal Podcast, VH1's Top 40 Hair Bands, came out in 2001, and our finalized top 10 list with our Sleaze Meter. Nez, I want to start with you. Thank you, first of all, coming on here. I want to get your final thoughts on this. Did Nez freeze up there?
He froze up.
All right, well, Nez, if you hear me, just go ahead and go in and go back out. We'll get you back in here. Let's start with you then, Dick. Give me your final thoughts on the Sleaze Meter and our chosen ones.
I looked at the list and I kept thinking sleaze as a something that would be that you could approach. And I think like if I was in a guitar store and Mick Mars played the guitar, I might wipe it down after that. That's sleazy. He's still that sleazy.
We'll get Nez back on here. He's having a little bit of connection issues here. Yeah. Is there any surprises to you, or do you think that we did a pretty good job of getting down there? We debated a bunch of stuff there.
I was surprised at where some of our higher ups were on that list, that they were that low, or that if we re-rank the 40, I think that a lot of the lower ones might be up there. And then there's probably ones that weren't on the list that, like we went back into the 40s, whatever, like Night Ranger and Autograph, things where I'm like, where I still don't know how they're always on those lists.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was weird too. Like Extreme was only on there because of their ballad and Mr. Big, even though Mr. Big's best song on their album was Addicted to That Rush,
Oh, great.
So, yeah, definitely. All right, Nez, thank you for coming back on. You had a little issue there. We want to get your final thoughts on this list here and the Sleaze Meter. And was there any big surprises for you?
No surprises. I have albums by just about every one of those bands except Slaughter and Warrant. I'm not down, but I'm very happy with the list I generated last week. Most of my picks are on there. A little, like I said, I'm used to it from you guys that Hanoi didn't make it. I wasn't even going to bother trying to do the honorable mention being Bobby Durango. And wasn't even going to bother with that. I'll take.
I love that you're dying on that mountain, and I bought the album. It's a good album. So yeah,
solid record.
Yeah, it's solid.
Thanks, Kevin. Again, these are just a great time doing this stuff. Absolutely.
Appreciate that, man. All right, Mike, let me get your final thoughts here, man. Did we do this list justice?
I think we definitely did it justice. I mean, the only reason I like what Dick said, some of these bands are on these lists, for some reason, somewhere along the way, the top 40 came the standard. You had to have 40. So why you couldn't do the top 20, but the top 40 is the standard, I guess, because Casey Kasem did the top 40 countdown. So you picked 40 for some reason. So I think that there's a lot of bands that like I said, like Night Ranger, like we said, Night Ranger, Tesla, that should not have been on that list of top 40, but they needed 40 spots. Yeah. So I think we narrowed it down to a much easier, much more palatable list in our top 10.
Yeah, I mean, like one of my favorites I mentioned earlier is Bullet Boys, but they didn't have a ballad until like their third album called Sing a Song, but it didn't make it in any airplay, and grunge was in full effect at that time. But it's just it was fun to go back and relive all the memories of these bands and relive this list, because when it comes to the hair metal era in our fandom, that is a famous episode of VH1. And VH1, to their credit, they kept playing videos. They had the metal show. They kept things going, and that's what I loved about VH1.
There's still a VH1 now? Is it still on?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't even know.
Not like what it used to be. I think they went like the version of the reality shows like MTV did. So yeah. Anyway, Nez, thank you again so much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Dick, thank you so much. Simmer, as always, this was a blast. And guys, this of course is the Fandom Podcast Network's Hair Metal Podcast, top 40 VH1 hair metal bands of 2001, and our top 10 of the Sleaze Meter. All right, guys, thank you so much. And until next time, rock on and just go out and see concerts like we have, guys. Go out and see them. They're still playing. Let's have fun. See you guys next time on the Hair Metal Podcast.